guy now.
Yeah. Yeah, and honestly, bro, we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. We can be a complete open book, bro. Whatever you want to throw at me, brother.
Yeah. Nah, I think the main thing I kind of want to talk about is just whether you agree or disagree with that main point. But cause okay, I think just to like set off on like good note, bro, I loved your react. It was so funny.
Funky nuts.
And, like, especially towards the end. Yeah, it's such a good shit. I think I just want to specifically talk about the whole power creep thing. But I think the first thing is basically, do you feel like power creep and problems with power creep, they are like two different things?
Do I think that power creep and problems with power creep are two different things? Is that what you just asked?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, let's just think of a quick example off the top of my head. ARPGs, Diablo 3. Power creep is literally baked into their seasonal system, and it's a way to like refresh the enjoyment of the season and the game that you're playing. Because if they didn't power creep, then people just wouldn't come. They wouldn't come back next season. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's
But,
power creep that's not problematic.
How about like gacha games though?
Yeah, so with gacha games, the biggest fundamental problem, and by the way, this is outside of greed and stupidity, is the character they monetize their power creep. And so you spend your money inside of a gacha game, boom, to get this character or to get this team, which is even more expensive, more resource acquisition required. And then they power creep the team later. Fuck me. My notifications are going off, and I Grandpa Smack don't even know how to turn these motherfuckers off, Pokey.
Yeah, take your time. Yeah. I can't hear ending though.
Yeah. So basically, like it's resource acquisition is being spent on the teams, and so once you commit to that purchase, then they can power creep again. And now the purchases that you made were pretty much like just stepped on, and so now we're doing this all over again, and it's a perpetual process. It's essentially the injection of monetization inside of the characters. Whereas in another game, like, I don't know, we can just, again, Diablo or Path of Exile or Elden Ring. If you pick up a weapon and that weapon's stronger than the weapon you used before, well, you just pick the weapon up and you use that instead. But if it was a gacha game, that's going to cost you a resource that you can only get by doing our events or by spending money. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the problem. It's the monetization of it that makes it problematic. And then we use benchmarks of other games to say, well, this is something that just doesn't exist in other games.
Okay, I think for myself, I would specifically talk about like Honkai Star Rail, because that's like the I do feel that maybe you might have misunderstood me, because I think it sounds like a lot of people think it sounds like I am blaming players for power creep. Especially power creep's existence. It sounds like I am blaming players, despite that it's the devs who keep releasing the new units, which is not the case. I am blaming the players specifically with the problems that power creep brings about to their accounts. So, like, for example, my tweet, right? I think there's also been a lot of sentiment saying that I misworded my tweet, or like I misconstructed my tweet. I should have phrased it better. I think that would have been the case, but I also feel that people probably misread it, and they just didn't read the and problem. So my original tweet was, HSR has a power creep problem only if allowed to happen, either by greed or stupidity. Change my mind. I think most people read it as HSR has power creep, so they remove and problem. So it sounds like HSR has power creep only if you're allowed to happen. I think that might have been the case. So it's not really that I miswrote. I think people just might be both parties, but I think that probably also happens as well, because a lot of people are saying that I am blaming players for power creep's existence, which is definitely not what I'm doing. And in fact, I made a second video like really going through like how power creep really works in Honkai Star. But it's 50+ minutes, but I don't expect you to watch it. But
no, it's okay.
Yeah,
I think, I think these guys are going off over here. Holy fuck, bro! You motherfuckers better stop with this shit. All right, hey, save the donations for another time, chat. What the fuck? All right. Anyways, man, Pokey, I think that. First of all, I strongly fucking disagree. I think your tweet, the biggest problem with it is there's zero accountability placed on the devs in that tweet. The devs are nowhere to be found in that tweet. It's only pointing the finger at the community. So, and then Absolutely. when we talk to you, Poke, you straight up admit it, right? Like you say, oh, look, this is what I mean. Once you get the substance with your word of mouth, well, now we have that context, but there's that context is nowhere to be found in that tweet. So people are going to interpret that with what you wrote out, which I got it right here. I've explained this. You watched my reaction to your video already, but HSR has a power creep problem. The only if now excludes every other problem outside of the greed and stupidity, right? That excludes everything else. And this is also a blanket statement. So what it means is anybody who takes issue with power creep, let's say me, I take issue with power creep in HSR. I have to go straight into the greed and stupidity category because by your definition, there's no other reason to take issue with power creep. Does that make sense?
Yes. Because like the players feel that there are a lot more than just greed and stupidity that are making this a issue for players. And one of the issues is, the speed of banners and everything. So they feel that it's not solely because of the players. So they are upset that I didn't put more responsibility to the company.
Correct.
I would say though, my rebuttal for this is the tweet itself. I intentionally wanted this to address strictly to the players.
Right.
Because if I were to phrase it like HSR has a power creep problem, and then this is caused by the devs, it would be like addressing both the devs plus the players. But the thing is, I do feel that power creep's existence, that is purely on the devs. So it's kind of like two different things. It's kind of like me addressing a gambler with a gambling addiction. I think they have a problem. But I just didn't explain why the casino themselves are predatory. I feel like this is the best analogy. Yeah, so I didn't explain why the casino is bad. So I didn't explain why the Honkai Star Rail is bad. But I only said, okay, these gamblers have a gambling problem. So that's why that's basically how it went. And I do feel that I wanted to do this specifically because I didn't want to bring up the company, because I feel that if this is the case where I push the responsibility between both players and the company, there will be less self-awareness for players to realize that they do have a certain degree of responsibility when it comes to the issue they have with power creep. And from so far, I still think that majority of whether or not these problems occur to the player's account, so far, I wouldn't say everyone because I need to stop using blanket statements. A lot of it is caused by greed and stupidity.
Don't disagree.
Because from what I've seen is they keep chasing the brand new DPS, they keep chasing the brand new units, but in reality, they don't really need it.
Yeah.
It's like they are being tempted by these, the tempt of FOMO and all these FOMO. Who caused these FOMO is definitely because of the company. But at the end of the day, it is still up to the players that, they went for it. Yeah.
And if you would have said majority, you wouldn't have me over here saying, hold up.
Yeah.
And I agree. That's why I said it when I was reacting to you. Oh my God, dude. Fuck me, bro. This is my ADHD's going crazy. You fuckers don't. Where's this donations when I'm not having a 1v1 chat? What the fuck, bro? All right. Anyways, man. They're going off, Pokke. I'm serious. It keeps ringing.
That's good shit, bro. That's good shit. Yeah.
But basically, like the majority of people that play gacha games are also the target audience, right? It's the company basically saying, we're going to target the otaku. And as we all know, the otaku is the introverted guy with no confidence who doesn't go outside. That's the person they're preying upon. And so that's usually the greed and stupidity part applies to that audience. But I remember telling you that a smart and wise man could also find power creep problematic because what's occurring is their business model is designed to punish the smart and wise. If you're smart and wise, that means you have to miss out on a patch of pulling on those particular characters that they're taking the in-game cadence towards to them because you're smart and wise. You can't have every single character. So now you're going to experience a decline in your experience. That experience being the team that you invested in doesn't feel right with that format. Oh, I cleared this shit, but it felt like ass. It felt out of place. That's a decline in your experience. That's a decline in your fun. The events that suck balls, but you have to do them because those events are tied to the resources of the character you pull on. I have to commit to that. Even though I'm smart and wise, I need those resources because they monetize this game. So I'm going to have a decline in my experience. Even though I don't want to play that, I have to do that as well. Even a smart and wise man is going to say power creep is a fucking problem in this game because I have to suffer through patches because that's by design for the company to make me feel that so that I pull on the characters. That is another power creep problem exclusive that's outside of the greed and stupidity part. Would you say that's a fair take or would you disagree?
I think it's fair. It's definitely fair that even if you are smart and wise, you will still feel the FOMO. You will still feel, okay, my units are gonna not perform as much, and they would also be tempted to pull for the brand new units. So this is a problem.
Nobody
This is
wants
a
to play with
feeling
a B
shared by
team.
everyone. Yeah, this is a feeling shared by everyone. But I would say this feeling. Okay, maybe I just think of it a little bit differently because I feel like feeling worse is not necessarily a problem. I think it's only, or at least how I view it, I think it's only a problem when a player's account is like quote unquote bricked. Like they couldn't clear all of the Endgame content, their team sucks and all that kind of stuff. And I think they use power creep as an excuse to always chase for the latest unit that makes their team perform the best.
That's true too.
Because that's how they monetize all of the new DPS. They always make a end game with the enemy with the right element as well as the buffs to make every single one of these DPS perform better compared to the other DPSs. So because they keep chasing this, there's basically two ways, right? There's two ways to feel good about playing Honkai Star Rail. You either chase the latest DPS or you make your old team stronger. So
Right.
what I've noticed is that these smart players, even though they might not feel as good that they didn't pull for the new DPS, they will probably still find ways to make the units that they didn't pull for try to match up.
Yeah.
And I think they will also come to understand that it's okay that the units that they have last time is not going to be performing as good as units now because you're not spending any jades, right? You're not spending any pools. For the players that are pooling for the new unit, they are literally spending like 80, 90, 100 pools just for the sake of feeling good. So the flip side is they get to save all these pools as their reward. So I think I think it's smart. Yeah.
I want to give you a quick little analogy though to reference to that part where you're like, it's fine if they don't get the strongest team. They play with the B team instead of the S team or whatever. Let's say you bought that. You have the Shure Sub 7B, right, Pokke, over there?
Yeah.
You bought that to increase the quality of your communication to your audience, right?
Absolutely.
And it cost you a pretty penny. Now, before you bought it, you did your research and you came to the discovery that that was the best market product that they had to offer.
I feel like I know where I'm going with this, but keep going.
So
Yeah.
So you purchased that bad boy, and now your communication is like peak to your audience. But then 1 month later, the Shure 8M7B comes out, and the 8M7B is enabling you to communicate in 7 different languages, and it's outside your return policy. So
I can suddenly speak 7 languages.
Yeah. So now you're able to capture a much larger audience with that 8SM7B or whatever you want to call it. Let me finish this. And so you go to buy that, and then 1 month later, the 3000 comes out, and the 3000 has a frequency to where when you speak inside that frequency, it throws you to the top of the algorithm. And they're all the same price point, by the way, and they're 1 month apart. And they didn't actually give you a roadmap on that. So now you spend 1,000 more, and that one's actually going to increase your business. You're going to grow in the business that you run if you buy the 3,000. Right. Pretty much what people experience in HSR. They're like, every fucking time they keep dropping better tools. Go ahead, though, if you want to respond to that.
Nah, I know exactly what this analogy means. That every single time they release something better, and like, especially in a short time frame, you will always be tempted to get that thing. But I think this analogy is crazy. I think a better analogy is more like, do you use iPhone or Samsung? Or
I use iPhone.
Okay, right. For example, right. Right now I have like an iPhone 15. If next year they release iPhone 16 or 17 or 18, I would know that my iPhone 15 is still fine.
Right.
Like even those 16, 17, and 18, they're still good. I wouldn't get it. I feel like that's more of a actual representation for Honkai Star, especially for the end game, because basically it's just Memory of Chaos and getting 3 stars.
Real
so
quick.
It's not like it's
I just want to say, Acheron making the simulated universe faster. That's not an iPhone upgrade. That is a actual upgrade. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
like,
that is a very
Acheron
very specific example. Yeah.
It would be the same thing with Mavuika fucking flying around. Like that is an upgrade because you get to fly around in Genshin Impact. But I you know what, Pokke? I'm not. This is not I'm trying to one up you. You're right though. There's to support what you just rebutted to me. A lot of the times it is just an iPhone upgrade. You're absolutely right there. That's a great fucking rebuttal, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, but the reason why I think that is like the main case is because I think majority, not all, I think majority of the players that are complaining about power creep, they are probably complaining because they can't clear the end game, which is why I don't see this like Similar Universe, this quality of life being their main focus. They probably put Akron not just for SU, but it's mainly to get that 1 cycle, 2 cycle, feel powerful, deal a million damage, and that is like how they feel good.
That's why I do it.
Yeah, exactly. So the reason why I say this is like more comparable to the iPhone is because technically you don't really need to get that. Like it feels good, right? It feels good to 0 cycle, 1 cycle, especially with the latest DPS, and they always make the latest DPS can clear the end game a lot easier, right? You need way less investment for new DPS compared to last time. Like if you want to try Scylla or like Jingyuan, you need a lot more compared to a new DPS. And that's, I feel like, how they implement this FOMO, because even though you don't really need this 0-1 cycle, I think a lot of people just get so used to the power of a new DPS when that's how it was like back then. But in reality, when you kind of like take away the memory of chaos buffs, take away the right elemental weaknesses for the enemies, that's when their true performance start to shine.
Yes.
And where they'll drop. They'll drop based on the environment. But the unit is still exactly the same. And if players come to the awareness that that's actually how the unit should be performing roughly, I think they would reduce a lot of these like problems associated with power creep, because then they will be less incentivized to chase the brand new toy and all that kind of stuff.
I think what you just explained though is that the devs design, I guess the environment is the word to put it, to always cater.
Yes.
But that ties into power creep, I would say, because now you're just waiting on the environment to finally fit your team, and that's problematic. How long should I wait for Super Break to pass so I can finally start using my dot team so it could feel like it felt when I first got it? Because I think that's it borderline scamish. It feels maximum power when you promote it to me, but then for the next 5 months, I'm in this Super Break format. Nobody's weak to lightning. I have the dot cop, and I'm getting through it. Sure, I'm completing it as you said and getting all rewards, but it doesn't feel good. My experience declined.
It doesn't feel good.
That's a pay to. That is so. When you think about it, Pokke, our job as gamers is to have fun, and their job as developers to ensure that we're maximizing the fun of our consumers. They are maximizing the fun of the consumer. Furthermore, they're shitting on our dollar at that point too, because. At what point, or you, and maybe you can answer this for me. Actually, before I asked that, I just had an analogy pop into my head, because I saw you make this argument, and many other people who are rebuttaling it or advocating this. I saw this argument a lot. You clearing all the content in the game. Why are you complaining? If I used to play basketball, I played in college. If I fucking get through every single game in the season, I complete every single game. And then coach says, good job, you completed every single game. And I go, yeah, coach, but I'm fucking aching. My Achilles hurts, my knee hurts, and my back hurts because we have no fucking infrastructure in terms of physical therapy and rehabilitation to ensure that I'm performing at the optimal performance. These games hurt to play. And he's like, so who cares? You still completed the whole season. You know what I'm saying? It's like he's basically not acknowledging the suffering I'm feeling because he doesn't want to give me the tools needed to be at maximum performance. That is the problem, I would say, that why people keep pushing back on you, because you're not acknowledging that their experience and the fun that they had is declining now. And it's not as fun as it was when they very first started out. But essentially, they're playing with injuries because of this fucking power creep cadence to the end game format.
Yeah, I 100% agree. You know, you technically cleared it, but at what cost?
At what cost?
Yeah, I get you. I get you.
Some people like that though. See, it never applies to everyone, because some people are like Volk loves that shit. He's like, hell yeah, I still cleared it though, motherfucker.
My counterpoint to that would be, not all, but I think some of the people that are, I wouldn't say they're like super sweaty, but they still want to try clearing the end game. They would feel that their old teams perform worse, but I do think that it might be I don't know how to word it other than skill issue, because I've made this other tweet where I kind of asked some of the people in the community to kind of post their teams.
It is a skill issue, Pokke. You don't have to defend that. I already know where you're going.
Yeah, and I noticed that a lot of these people that complain, they are running like legit like horrible teams. It's either or like really just super bad. Like I'm talking like level 6 talents, level 70, or
Aventurine with Blade.
It's so bad. Yeah, I feel like there's a little bit of a common ground here, because people that are aware of the meta and they are aware of how it shifts, they probably would be doing everything in their power to kind of make things work. And they might not be the ones that are complaining the most. Whereas the people that complain the most, they are usually the casuals. They're kind of like in the middle of nowhere. They are kind of between Marvel chasers, but they also kind of want everything, which is kind of like the main target audience I'm addressing, which is you can't have your cake and eat it at the same time. You can't just expect to be casual. You want to prove everything rifle, and you don't care about meta, you don't care about team building, but you still want to clear 3 stars with like what limited knowledge you have. Is like the comparison is I'm gonna say Warden Waves as power creep when I don't really know how the rotations, or like Genji has power creep, right? But I know there are a lot of ways. A lot of ways that you can improve. So far, majority of it, the complaints are coming from these players.
Yeah.
The meta players, on the other hand, because they wouldn't have an issue and they understand how this thing moves on, I don't think they will be the ones complaining about power creep as much, because they know what tools to utilize to make their team work, or at least not ache as much. Until, if they are smart, they would save these pools, because every single time you pull a unit is another pool that could be spent on like your islands or like another unit. So they know that even if they were to suffer now, it's okay as long as they can get by, and then the next time it comes out, oh, I'm gonna be great again. So yeah,
and then to advocate what you just said too, there's a meaning to suffering inside of video games. Like the RNG, you don't always get your fucking legendary in Path of Exile. But when you get that legendary, it makes it all the more meaningful. Suffering is essential. Vayne, early game, sucks fucking balls, but that's a suffer that's going to pay off in the end game. I think all of that advocates what you just said. And you know what, Pokke, well fucking done there. I have no, rebuttal for that. In fact, I support that.
Thank you.
But a lot of the times, Pokke, like I said, a majority of the shit, I agreed with you. My only thing was I don't like corporate slurp glurp. And no, you're not doing it, but it came off that way. And that was my biggest problem with that tweet. It was like, bros, there's no accountability on the dev, which I told you. I said, as long as he puts that part, me and Pokke are on the same page. I completely I acknowledge your intelligence. I acknowledge that you're somebody who's capable of critical thought. So I never once thought like that you were over here just saying nothing but dumbass shit. I do have a question for you though. Do you think power creep is necessary for them to sell the characters?
I think it's not, but I would say it's very, very heavily incentivized to do so. And not just for Honkai Star Rail, but for like every single gacha game.
So here's what I have an immediate reference point for that. And you didn't play Genshin Impact on launch, did you?
No, I didn't. I just started like this year, last year, March,
I'll be honest, don't quote me on this, but definitely for about 2 years, the strongest meta team in the game was 3-4 stars. Bennett, Shangling, and Xingqiu. These motherfuckers were so strong, and I'm not talking about like a little bit under. No, they ran the goddamn meta, and this took off an immense amount of pressure for meta players to feel like they had to always pull the newest unit. They are all day one units too, and that something like that goes to show you that power creep isn't actually necessary to sell characters, because people still ended up pulling on every motherfucking character after that.
Yep.
And then finally, Kuki Shinobu came out with Sumeru. Bitch was. She was forgotten tier, and then she aged and became meta, another 4-star character. I think this is like the best way for me to show that power creep isn't actually necessary to sell the characters, but I do, on the other end of the spectrum, agree that it will absolutely get the job done. And I think that's my biggest problem with HSR. There's no budget meta team. If there are, Pokke, you let me know, because these days my ass hasn't been locked in as much as I normally am. So, but there's no real budget meta team that you could say that lasted longer than 2 months. Or I held 3 months. It just, they keep fucking throwing them out. Would you have anything to say towards that?
Yeah, absolutely. Budget meta team super break. You have a free Harmony, Trailblazer, Gallagher. Everybody has run main.
I'm sorry, say it again.
Super break.
Okay,
right?
super break.
Harmony MC, then Gallagher, which is like technically free. Then like everybody has run mate, and they just run one of the 3 super break. It's like super budget. It is the rank 1 team in Honkai Star Rail for like every single server. Everyone is super break because like it's just that broken. I think this is a pretty free fraternity. Okay, but I have a.
But that wasn't day one. Yeah, but sure.
Okay, yeah, true. It's not day one. Yeah, true. It's not day one. But I have a very, very good rebuttal to this, because I also thought about this. Right, the reason why I think power creep is more intertwined in Honkai Star Rail system is because games like Genshin Impact, as well as like even like Warden Waves or even Xenosaga Zero, they have a lot more things to do in the combat itself. You can dodge, you can parry, you can like Kara cancel, you can negative edge. You can do a lot of things to prevent
Skill expression.
taking damage. Yeah, exactly, skill expression. But in Honkai style, you basically have 4 buttons. Technically 3, and then a talent. And then something like that. You really can't do too much within the actual combat. Maybe some speed tuning here and there. Maybe you want to use your skill on this guy or the other guy. But generally speaking, once you set this team, that is like it. So I feel like for Honkai Star Rail, the way they express, which could also be a reason why they made the speed of banners so quickly, is that team building is basically the only thing that they can do to change like the meta. Because you can't really...
enemies.
Yeah, okay, yeah, and enemies, which is, I thought about it, I think the environment is the biggest reason why they introduced power creep. But yeah, so that's why I think in Honkai Star Rail, team building is like so intertwined with this mechanic of the game that to introduce new characters would be like the most direct way of like making things fresh, changing the meta, keep players fun, introduce new mechanics. But because this is so intertwined with actually getting that unit, it is a little bit inevitable that there will be greater degrees of power creep compared to all these other games with more skill expression. Yeah.
I think that's fair. And I'm not, this rebuttal isn't a disagreement. My only thing is it always goes back to turn-based is the heart of turn-based is strategy. It's strategy based. And so like, yeah, you can't do all this different skill expression, but you can design, and dude, this requires 5-head thinking of developers that I'm just not capable of. You can design enemies and units that you're creating in real time in a way where they respond to the strict strategies. Octopath Traveler, have you played that Pokke before?
No, never.
Okay, I'm a turn-based fucking fanatic. So it's like if you get to the end game of Octopath Traveler, there's a lot of things that start to take place inside of that game that make you appreciate the beauty of turn-based gaming. And I feel like HSR, here's where it starts to clash. HSR is just so casual centric that if it were to really inject strategy into the game, it would probably turn away from the casual players. And so that's why I said I can't really rebuttal against you, because that actually doesn't allow me to say, put more strategy into the game. Well, then these niggas are cooked because they can't even fucking play it the way it is right now.
They'll be even more cooked. Yeah. There's only 3 buttons and people are having like problems clearing it. So like imagine they have like 5 buttons, 6 buttons, it's over, man. There'll be even more, bro, I think there'll be even more power creep because they introduce all these different mechanics and then they just keep making the units even stronger where you can just ignore all these mechanics and there's even more power creep. So like,
yeah, I think that's completely fair. Would you say though, where do we draw the line of power creep tempo? And what I mean by that is how fast it is occurring. Where do we draw the line there?
Okay, I'm gonna sound crazy, but I actually don't think power creep is that bad in Honkai Star Rail yet.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say this is because so far, okay, from the latest like MOC data and all the clears, I'm just talking about like endgame clears. So far, every single DPS, now I'm not talking about support and sustains because they're pretty universal, but so far, every single DPS have been able to essentially get 3 stars. And that's a benchmark. But of course, your point is it feels bad.
Yeah. So
feeling bad is definitely something that you either solve it with money or you solve it by, it's that kind of, it is what it is.
It's by design, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that the way it is right now, they have introduced not just stronger units, but also a lot of new team comps for the past 2 years. If we start off with Crit, and then we have Super Break, we have DOT, we have Follow Up, and then now they introduced a little bit of counters from like Yun Li, and then now they are moving from the stacks from Aircraft and Facial to more energy regeneration from like Sunday. And then version 3 is going to introduce a whole new thing, which is like the summon meta. But every single time they introduce these new things, the old things are still relevant. Like your crit teams, your follow-up team, your DOT team, it might not be as crazy because, the environment is not as favorable for them maybe, or the evolution path. But because they're still technically usable, I think it's not that bad yet. I feel like Honkai Star Rail's power creep is going to be a pretty bad state when it actually reaches a point where not just a single unit, but a whole category of like DPS class is completely unusable. So if one day, like let's just say like crit DPS just like completely doesn't work, like all your Jinglius, your Blade, your Scylla, they just really just not even like 3-star, but like trying extremely hard to 3-star, where like the brand new archetypes are gonna make it very easy. I think that's gonna be a problem. But for now, not yet. But that's what I feel though. That's what I feel.
I think that's fair. But here's what I will say, Pokke. The beautiful thing about a gacha game is the longer it's out, the better it gets for people who get into it. And what you just presented was, sure, somebody who gets into HSR today, they're in a way better position than the veteran players. I'm more so speaking about the veterans because we got fucked. We had the no roadmap. But if I start HSR today and I see all of these options, I have way more choices, way more resources to make the decision. But the veteran player with no roadmap, he got fucked along the way, you know? He walked so that these people today could run. So they can go look at guides, they can go look at all kind of stuff. And this was the hindsight argument you were making in your video where I was like, brother, we didn't have that Oracle ball, you know?
Okay. I have the perfect rebuttal. Okay, I swear I didn't plan for this, but I really think through a lot before I started this video. Yeah, I really like sat down, like typed up a script, everything.
Go ahead.
Okay, the reason why I feel this is it might not be that bad is because for all the old veterans that started the game day one, when they're actually playing the game, back then when they put Scylla, when they put Jing, and when they put Silver Wolf, those units, their value back then, it was valuable for their account, right?
Yeah.
People did have fun pulling for
In
Scylla.
that context.
They had fun playing Silver Wolf. Yeah, back then. So given the context of, let's just say you give the veteran a crystal ball, right? Let's just say the veteran is Bob, right? So he can fucking see all the way through 3.0. But he started at 1.0 though.
Yeah.
I feel that if even with the crystal side, his enjoyment for the game would still be very, very bad if he just had to save everything all the way through like Akron, all the way to Super Break, because there's like multiple months of just not pulling. And I think that would drastically reduce his enjoyment, even though he's technically more efficient, he's more meta, but at what cost though? So that's why I feel like this hindsight thing, no matter at what point you start in Honkai Star Rail, you started back then, it was fun back then. If you start Honkai Star Rail now, it's going to be fun now. And this will always happen when at any point of time you start the game, it's going to be fun. And then the new thing is going to come out and the cycle will always repeat itself.
But so my thing, Pokke, is back then, my scenario made more sense for that. If you literally decided that you wanted to play Dot, you had to wait for whenever that would arrive. And so what's a good time period for me to access my Dot team?
What do you mean access? Like use them in Endgame?
When am I able to have a whole Dot team? Like when should this be a thing? You can't really answer that, right?
Like when is Dot team complete?
No, yeah. When is Dot team complete? Exactly. There you go. When is Dot team complete? Because it's been 20 months.
Yeah, we won't know, man.
You see what I'm saying, though? But like today, if you get in HSR today, you already know. Oh, a Kafka, Black Swan. Oh, I know exactly to get those two. Oh, we're still waiting on the final unit. The guy back then who invested in Dot, he's still waiting. Bro's like, he's still waiting today for the Dot to be complete. That is a problem, Pokke, because it's like, I wanted to play Dot. I'm fucked. I can't play Dot. And then I know that is the worst case scenario against your argument, but we can take the best case scenario too. In Biber de Lune, if you wanted to play Dragon Boy, and you wanted to E2 him, but you're a budget player, you're not E2ing him on release. It's just not happening. You don't know he's coming. And then when he comes, you've probably already picked up a Silver Wolf because of the context. The next time he gets ran, he's with Sparkle, his best in slot. So you can't E2 him right there too, because now you have to pick up the Sparkle with him. And then Sparkle has been presented as his best in slot. Basically, again, as we're going on this day-to-day thing, the little details in between, Pokke, really matter in terms of of how they're fucking you over, of you being able, as a veteran player, to experience the game to its full content. You're never able to get the A team because you don't know what the hell's occurring and how it's occurring. Basically, and this jars into another thing. Why do you think nobody had a problem with Miyabi power creeping Ellen?
I think there was nothing to power creep because like the content's very easy.
No, that's not true at all. She power crept the shit out of Ellen. Her multipliers are
absolutely
higher. Yeah. What I mean is the reason nobody had a problem with it because everybody knew Miyabi was coming out before the game released. Everybody already knew.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
That ice bitch was going to be stronger than Ellen. And to debut Ellen, we were rooting for it, actually. And then we were able to prepare for her when she came out. So it's like that roadmap was like, oh, yeah, I can't wait. We know it's coming, Pokke, but we don't know what's coming in HSR. And the Genshin Impact, the archons of each region, you know there's an archon in each region, so you can prepare to a degree. Nobody knew about no fucking emanators in HSR. It just kind of like bloop, yeah, here you go. And then you're like, oh, okay, so they're doing the emanator thing in here as well now, or the kind of an archon thing. Basically what I'm trying to tell you is the blueprint and the roadmap of HSR is so non-existent, so obscured and in the dark. you can't really prepare. You're always running into the power creep problem. Like and like I said, it's a multifaceted problem that goes into power creep. Does that make sense?
Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, it makes sense because you're right. Like Genshin, they have the Archons. Miyabi has been teased in the CBT, but Honkai Star is basically like what we see is what we get. Well, we got teased casters, but like okay, I get exactly what you're saying.
Ruan Mei is like the only one that wasn't a fucking emanator, and the bitch was just broken for no goddamn reason. Robin, I would say too. Robin was just like a story lover, but again, nobody really knew she was gonna be broken. There's no way to know.
I feel that this might be a bit more tied to pulling for supports in Honkai Star. I feel like supports they kind of are like the emulators.
Yeah.
So or not emulators, sorry. I mean like
I get the expression.
Yeah. So I think a lot of players, they especially casuals, they might not understand the significance of support. Because even if you have like a super strong DPS, it's kind of still bound by that support. So like Aircraft without Jiao Chun is gonna feel a little bit sussy. Fei Xiao without Robin is gonna feel a little bit sussy. So I do think that not all, but a part of players, they might end up chasing DPS a bit too much because they kind of fail to understand the value of a support. Yeah, exactly. They kind of forgot that, oh wait, Fei Xiao is doing all that, not really because of Fei Xiao alone, but it's mainly because Robin just fast everything and ties everything together. The same thing is gonna happen for like Super Break. Fugue is like super good for Super Break, and if players don't pull Fugue and they play Super Break, I think they will regret in the future. Because they are looking at, they're gonna have summon, they're gonna have a new DPS again. I'm just gonna skip Fugue, who needs her? And I think this will keep happening. But to be fair though, I don't think a lot of players would know this as well.
No, you're right.
This will, only not a small, but like if you only like super into the meta, then you will notice that, okay, I need supports. But since casuals are like the ones, at least most people are the ones complaining of not being able to keep up, they probably wouldn't know like the importance of each banners.
Yeah.
So
Okay, every single argument that we've had in this discussion so far is for so many niches. Like the arguments you have made that you've gotten a lot of pushback for, it applies to more people than not. You know what I mean? So like, it's not like everything you said was wrong. I'm just literally giving you more of a substance to why these things were problems outside of the greed and stupidity. But if I had to put a percentage on it, I would say it's probably 10%, and the greed and stupidity part is 90%. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, great. I'll take that W. We can end this call now.
Yeah, we can. I just wanted you to understand. Crazy. It's not that you're
crazy. Okay.
It's not that you're wrong. I tell you, I'm not here to make you look like an idiot. I want you to understand that not everybody can be applied to that. But the reality of it is their target audience is the greedy and stupid. That's who they're going for.
Exactly. And that's also why I wanted to make the tweet, because I want these players to be a little bit more aware that they are actually getting targeted. But unfortunately, too many people are way too like emotional. They're too self-defensive. Like, nope, fuck you, Pokke, go fuck yourself. They refuse to acknowledge that I'm trying to save them. I am quite legit trying to save them, but they don't get it. They want to keep blaming the company. It's the company's fault. It's the company's. But in reality, it's a lot of them. They are getting played, right? Okay. They are getting played for the FOMO, and
You have brought so much awareness to this topic with your ability to stand on business and continue to talk about it. It's beautiful. It is. That's why I said you're a great guy.
Thank you. And oh my god, man, I feel so fucking vindicated, bro. Like thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, it's just important because most people don't have the balls. And most people will just crumble as soon as that pressure that hits you. They just crumble. They're like, going back in my little bubble.
I'm Eastern CC. I don't crumble. I got a fact. I know I'm right. It's just a matter of time before people see it. So
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, man, if you want to talk about more stuff, we can. But I think that pretty much wraps it up for me.
Yeah, I think this is great, man. I'm just gonna close this video. So. Just any closing. Thank you so much for the talk, by the way.
No,
it was really
absolutely. And you got the video upload. This shit's I'm chilling.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So chat. All right. See you guys on YouTube. Bye.
I'm
just gonna stop recording.
Yep.
Take care.